Alright, welcome back to the Birchie Bowling Supply YouTube channel. My name is Chris and I'm here to bring you guys the high-rev perspective.
And my name is Josh and I'll be bringing the low-rev perspective.
Today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Storm Phaze II Pearl, and I'm going to be comparing that to the original Phaze II and the Motive Steel Forge.
And I'll be comparing it to the Brunswick Combat and the Rotogrip Rockstar Amp. These videos will give us and you an idea of what these pieces look like going down the lane. At the end, we will give our honest, unbiased review anywhere from nuts to trash. Today we are here at Bolero Mesa on a fresh house shot. With that being said, make sure to like and subscribe and we'll see you out on the lanes.
Alright, just wrapped up throwing the brand new Storm Phaze II. Now I've been waiting for them to actually come out with an actual Phaze II Pearl. I'm really a fan of the original Phaze II. Seeing them come out with these Phaze Pearls, they weren't quite close enough to the original that for me personally. I feel like even with like the Phaze AI, it was like a Phaze II Pearl, but with all the white in it, it was still way slower than I wanted it to be. And this one I feel like is a lot closer to the original, which is a little bit more friction response, and so I really enjoyed seeing that go down the lane. There was definitely a few off my hand where I thought I got it forward. Wasn't sure if it was really going to see the pattern the right way, and it still was quick enough to come off the spot and get those light swisher hits. So I was really impressed with the misses off my hand. So now I'm going to go ahead and compare that to the Phaze II. With the original Phaze II being a lot stronger, a lot smoother of the shape, there's definitely something I would go to before the Phaze II Pearl when there's a little bit more oil on the lane. I need to have my angles a little bit more in front of me and close a little bit, just because of how much slower it wanted to be off the friction. I could definitely tell with the new Phaze II Pearl how much quicker it wanted to be. Even though it was quick, it definitely wasn't super continuous. It still had that pretty forward shape going through the pins like the original, so I definitely like that. So now I'm going to go ahead and compare it to the Steel Forge. Alright, after seeing the Steel Forge go down the lane, this one's pretty comparable to the Phaze II Pearl. I definitely do think it has a slightly slower, chuggier shape, just because of that Motive kind of characteristic. I feel like when the ones where I got to the friction weren't quite as quick as the Phaze II Pearl. I definitely needed to be a little bit slower with my ball speed, a little softer with it, just to make sure it got around the corner the right way. So personally, I was able to be a little bit more aggressive with the Phaze II Pearl and be a little bit more confident with it. And the Steel Forge, I needed to be a little bit more intentional speed control. All right, final thoughts on the Phaze II Pearl. Here at Bolero Mesa, it actually blended the wet dry really well, and even seeing how my misses still struck and still gave me pretty decent ball motion, I thought was really impressive, and I really kind of liked the shape. Personally, the cleaner Pearl symmetric balls I'm not too much of a fan of, just because controlling the wet dry is a little bit tougher, but with this stronger core and still a pretty decent friction response, having the quickness to come off the friction and still be slightly more forward through the pins, I personally really like. So this one is going to have to be a fire for me. I'm really curious to see what this looks like on other patterns and see if it really stacks up to the original Phaze II.
Just wrapped up throwing 10 shots with the new Storm Phaze II Pearl. This ball for me, as it has it in the name Phaze II, was a very anticipated ball. When I first saw it come to my shop, I was really excited to throw this one, because obviously Phaze II is a big name. First couple shots out of box, I did notice that it was a little cleaner than I expected it to be. That forced me to play a little bit closer to the friction. However, I will give the ball some slack, because right now the lanes were pretty clipped. For me, I just felt like no matter if I missed in, missed out, it was just kind of bipolar reaction on every ball I threw. So I did have to kind of take my review of it a little bit more with a grain of salt. But this ball did try to blend the friction, which I did like, but it was really for me more about the ball speed. If I got quick, I felt like it never hooked, but if I got slow, it actually saw friction. Just had to be comfortable with making sure that I was softer and keeping it more in front of me to really give it a chance to get off the end of the pattern the correct way. So now we're going to go ahead and throw 5 shots with the Brunswick Combat and see how it compares. Just threw 5 shots with the combat. Combat for me felt like it was a little earlier, definitely more rounded and controllable off the end of the pattern. However, I did feel like it had the same quickness to friction. Even though it was, hooked it in a little earlier spot, I did feel like how they come off the friction was pretty similar. Definitely like a half step up in my point of view. So now we're gonna go ahead and throw the Rotogrip Rockstar Amp and see how it compares. Just wrapped up with the Rockstar Amp. This ball for me was very similar to the Phaze II Pearl, where again, if I was quick, it didn't really want to see the spot. However, I did feel like overall it was maybe just a hair more, but in my point of view, these two balls are really close. I don't think you need both of these in the bag. Essentially, they're kind of copy paste of each other. However, I did feel, like I said, the Rockstar was just like, if I can be picky, like half a board sooner, half a board earlier, but they are very, very close to when it comes to, when to throw that ball, where to play, all of that stuff. Again, I wouldn't necessarily have both in the bag. Final thoughts on the Phaze II Pearl. For me, this one was kind of hard because, again, I wanted it to be good. I loved the original Phaze II. However, I just wasn't super impressed with it, unfortunately. It's one of those things where I've seen other symmetrical pearls that I feel like are a little bit better out there. And for today, I am going to have to rate it a meh. I did feel like it was kind of in between meh and fire, but again, I just felt like I couldn't strike enough with it. And at the end of the day, that's what you need out of the ball, right? So for today, it's going to have to be a meh.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys found this video useful, make sure to like it, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.